It seems obvious that one day the inevitable would happen. I would order something on a Kickstarter or similar and forget that I ordered it. So I had an email literally a day or two ago from a company called Clockwork that says my order was shipped and FedEx would be dropping it off soon. And obviously I was quite surprised at that because I had no idea or recollection on what this order was, and apparently this is it. So I'd searched through my email, yeah, and I did order this thing, and I cannot remember the terms that I ordered it under. I don't remember if it was a Kickstarter, I don't remember if it was direct off their website. You can see it's a nice shiny box. It's called Clockwork, a micro console, a real fantasy console. They've put that in the double quotes. Not much on the back apart from a Tux penguin wearing some cool goggles, and he's looking pretty happy about it. Some various open source type trademark things. And this apparently is the micro console kit with the CM4-D 4GB. So I believe that's a Raspberry Pi type module in there. And I hazily remember back to mid to late 2023 when I ordered this thing that there were options on whether you'd get them with basically different types of CPU. So they've made them with different types of CPU. It's supposed to look like this when it's done, which I think looks absolutely fantastico, really. And you've got the Don't Panic, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Guide reference, and rather nifty little checklist here so you can go through. Mount the screen, mount the keyboard a bit more, mount the front shell. Interesting though, it says mount the keyboard. What the frick is it doing? You've only got two pictures that say mount the keyboard. Oh, I see. It means really this is like mounting the keyboard membrane for the actual switch gear. And then you're mounting a couple more layers ahead. I guess they're keeping it simple by keeping the titles the same. Mount the front shell, mount the main board, mount the core, mount the Wi-Fi antenna, mount the blah blah blah. Oh, there's quite a few steps for Gs. I wonder if I got the 4 Gs in here. Thermal pad. I think it's better we just start making it, really, don't you? So first thing, by the way, I had to stop the camera. I was just going to do some sort of smash cut to us just making it. But look at this. I did open this and I was just like, oh. It does say Clockwork here on the plastic. I mean, this is beautiful. Beautifully presented, isn't it? All of the pieces, look, in little trays. So you get them all there. Oh, look at that. That's so cute. These little speakers, an SD card. So that's the nature of this packing is so nice that you've got these SD card, Allen key and whatnot, and they are loose in here, and that top tray fits so nicely. That component has survived all that shipping and is still sitting in its hole. There's the Raspberry Pi module. That looks like that's an adapter to adapt it to the main board on here. Because you've got to remember, when you're talking about modern electronics, a lot of this stuff is kind of standard, these displays and bits. So you're really just creating this main board here, for example, is really just an adapter, which has got the ICs and various peripheral controllers and things on them. But any other kind of CPU really can interface too. You're talking just SPI and I2C. There is something mystery floating in the bottom of the box though, this little black thing. I'm going to pop it back in there till we can figure out what it is. But we're jumping the gun. We should be following the instructions in the correctly prescribed order. So let's grab this open and we shall mount the screen. So I'll take out that seemingly thick thermal pad. Now, I'm going to dink this off my teeth. Dink, dink. Yep, this is metal. Absolutely metal. I'm looking, you could have got it in silver. Maybe silver would have been a bit more bling than just black, but that was my options at the time. Oh, hang on, something silver. What's that part? So these look like a bag of screws. That's the back panel. Oh, oh. What's this bit then? So this is the bit though that you mount the screen to, because it says expansion port. So we'll put that aside. So we're going to get this part out first. Maybe we should just move everything away, do it properly. Okay, so we're going to take the screen out of the pack. We're going to pop it on there. I don't think there's no sticky or anything like that on the back. You're just literally popping this ribbon cable through this hole like so. That's good. Yep, and there it is. Step 1 completed. Well done, well done. Right, next step, mount the keyboard. Now where was that keyboard? I guess it's all just assembled in here, so we're going to gently take off the membrane. I don't want to get my oily, grubby mitts on it. And you can see you've actually got it all pretty much laid out. There's your tack switch layer. There's your background layer membrane. I think there is LEDs in there. That's why you've got that. That's an LED diffuser, effectively. So you're going to pop that there. Make sure it fits. We're going to poke this down. This is actually, I think it's probably quite quick to get on with it, really. Now, just going to get out of the packet to the side here. I'm too lazy to switch the camera around to show you the little doodad. Oh, I can see what this is. So this is... I'm going to hold it here and wait. Right, you can see. It's a little trackball, and those are little 4 magnets that spin around. These little spinny rollers are magnets. And in the middle, there's a little metal push through, because here you've got 4 hall sensors and you've got a center tack switch. So that's cute. I don't know if it goes around in any particular way. It doesn't really appear to be weighed. There's a couple of dimples. I suspect that's it. Once it sits in like that. I remember them from the old BlackBerry days. And then in this tray all you had was this little antenna, which I'm going to put aside and then fling that tray away, because I want to get on with the next step, of course, which is mount the front. Mount the front. So we got the front here. And I think before I'm mounting the front, I'm going to move the protective layer, which it actually has advised to do, which is good, because that's very sensible. I wish I got some white gloves. I might get some so that I can do all the assembly work without grubbying up stuff. That would be nice. And I think we're going to put in some of these machine screws. And I'm going to go for 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They seem to be painted rather than anodized. Interesting choice. You could probably use your own hardware too if you want to bling it up. You could get your own bling screws. I don't like the idea of painted screws rather than anodized, because if you're a bit too heavy-handed in the assembly, you might scrape them. And if you scrape off that paint, you're not coming back from that. Right. Are you ready to time me? I should have started a timer here. So while we're putting these in, have a look at that keyboard. I'm seeing pretty complete keyboard. Minus, you've got function keys, but they're with a modifier. But you do have interesting, weird joystick type controls going on too, and it'd be interesting to see if they're mapped to their own joystick device. I should hope they are. Now, if you've got the right kind of compute module, there is a possibility though that you could run Windows, which I think would be quite interesting, probably a bit more useful for a lot of people. Okay, so we've mounted the front. Oh, so these instructions are interesting really, because it says mount the front, and then we've put those screws in, we've done that, remove the protective layer, and then it says again mount the front shell. So oh, I think it just means, so we're just flipping it basically. Flip it over. Already got dust on that screen. No screen protector in the kit. So you might want to put something down before you're doing this. So I've got a little bit of paper which came in the box, so let's put that there. And it looks like we have to first find what looks like a power switch. So I'm just going to have a little root around. Yep, I can see that. This is like an Airfix kit, but without all the horrible steps. It's just kind of very simple steps. I would have no issue, I think, with one of my kids building this. I think they'll just crack on with it. definitely doable by a youngster. And now we're going to mount the main board in. Looks very much like that. And if I'm not mistaken, it's probably going to ask us to put 4 machine screws in. Again, it's using the same fit screws for everything. I do wonder though if I have to genuinely have a little think about this piece. I'm going to show you. Look at my hand. Oof. Right, look at that. That's genuinely something, isn't it, from this? And it's clearly fallen off. I'm a little bit worried that if we don't figure out where this goes, it's going to come back and bite me in the bottom. I give up. I did root around on the board. I really don't know where that thing goes. And there's always the possibility it's already fallen off part of that keyboard assembly. So I've chucked it back in the box. We'll forget about it for now. Maybe it'll turn up. Well, we just crack on here. So we've just mounting that main board. Oh, and I think the trickiest thing about this main board part, apart from me having butterfingers clearly and struggling to get this machine screw on, is just getting this ribbon cable in. So let's do that next. I might need a little tweezers to just give me a little helping hand there. If you've got tiny fingers, you might be okay. Didn't come with any sort of tweezers, so they're not expecting you to require them. But this is probably a step where I would help my kids out and just say, hang on, wait a second, because if this gets knackered, it's game over, really, isn't it? And I really don't know what's the likelihood of you getting a spare part for that. That's one thing with these kind of projects. You don't really know, like. Right, so it says insert the core, mount the core. Right, so I'm trying to find said core. So we've got this little Raspberry Pi board, which is I think a compute module. And we've got this adapter. So I think we're going to first... So you've got 2 high-rose connectors there. You can see those little dinky things, so you've got to be a bit careful with those. And judging from the footprint, you can see they're offset, yeah, so they're not centered, they're onto one side, so this is probably the way they've got to go. So to make sure they're aligned, all the holes line up. Oh, and there was a little crunch. Now I do notice you do have an antenna on here and you have an antenna on here, so yeah. We'll probably have to figure out whose Bluetooth antenna wins in this battle. And then we have to slide this into the slot. And it goes in at an angle like that, and then we just push down. Should have a couple of clicks. Oh, no click, no clip, there's one. One little click for me. There's the other. So that's in. No mention of screwing those together, and there's no hardware for that, so I guess it's good enough. Next. So we have to mount the Wi-Fi antenna. So this is the Wi-Fi antenna. So interestingly, by the way, I have looked in the instructions ahead and I can see. So the Wi-Fi antenna lives on the outside of the case. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I know why it has to, because it's metal. It's never going to get through it, but it feels a bit, you know, slapdash. So the antenna wire goes through like that, and we remove the. After we've removed the protective film, it's just going to stick straight on there. So yeah, okay. I like this though, this little split in the tape. That is a bit genius. So you've got options here on your Wi-Fi antenna. You might want to go a little bit steampunk and drill a hole in here and just have a little sticky out antenna. That is absolutely a valid and awesome option for you. I've worked with similar antennas to this, and generally they're not the most performant. Now, I think you've only got one shot at this, by the way, as well. So, ah, it's already taken its shot. Basically, let's see if we can get it off. Oh man, hang on. Oh, it's very sticky. I might just have to just run with something like that. That'll do. There you go. That should be okay. And we'll flip it back on its belly. And it's saying actually for the non-CM4 core, connect it to the one on the main board, or connect it to the one on the actual CM4 core. The weird thing is with that is like, well, have you got a bunch of hardware? Do you have actually an additional Wi-Fi chipset on here that you're not using? Because that could be super interesting. Maybe you can actually set up a secondary antenna on this. There's potential here, isn't there, for all sorts of hackery and japes. So I'm just pushing on that little teeny connector. Take your time with these. They actually are quite easy to break. There. Snap. And you can see that's on nicely. That's not going nowhere. Nobody's going nowhere. We'll have a look in the manual. Next thing, mount the speakers. So I noticed something extremely interesting on the next stages, and I shall share them with you. So there's your little speakers, pretty much standard. And I'm guessing they're hoping to reverberate through the whole enclosure, because you don't really have any speaker grills or anything like that. And what we do for those, we'll remove the sticky. It doesn't really show in the instructions which way round. I'm going to go with the metal tabs here pointing towards the screw hole, and if we're wrong we'll have to flip them. Let's hope we're not wrong, because they have adhesive on them. We'll do the other one. So yeah, I would have probably preferred a bit of a zoom into that, but maybe it's not important. Maybe they've made it so impossible that we can screw it up. I mean, if you see here, you do have multiple contacts on the PCB for the speakers. Hard to tell if they're wired through. So what this is, though, this is really interesting. This is called the expansion module, and you can see it's come unpopulated here. Clearly the only thing that they're using it for on my variant is the speakers, and the speakers, if we buzz them out, are probably just being routed to some of these edge connector pins. But what you can see, which is fascinating, is you can clearly buy a more beefy version of this, where you've got a SIM card, you've got some additional audio capability here, yeah? You've got GNSS, so that's the GLONASS, so you've got your GPS type thing going on, yeah? Your UART, so you've got an additional serial UART on here, and probably all the control gubbins for that. I maybe, at the time, maybe I didn't have the budget for it, and I probably didn't opt for it, but I'm kind of thinking, if I knew it was going to take a year, maybe I would, you know, 2 months later or something, have a bit more cash on me and buy that additional board, because that does look sexy. Having this being able to do GPS and all those things would be really quite nice. And actually additional serial port. I mean, if you could actually have a decent UART on here, which is just literally, you know, regular 3-wire UART, that would be incredibly fun for connecting up to microcontrollers and stuff like that. And I do notice here, though, there's some GPIOs available on this slot too, so it's not all doom and gloom. Maybe you can actually hook something up to those. Oh, hang on a minute. Have we missed something? Where's the big... Oh, no, we haven't. I was worried because we do have that big blob of thermal there. Did I have to go somewhere? So the next stage is saying we have some plastic plates here. And there is another one in the case that's a bit difficult, so let's see if we can get this one out. There we go. So I'm not sure what that one's for, but this one certainly looks like it's for this hole, because they've explicitly showing the whole. Oh, I know what it is. Look at this. It depends on what expansion card you've got. So if you've got the expansion card that has the additional audio, yeah, that would go there. But we don't, so we're not going to put that on. We're going to throw that back in the box, and we're just going to put that in. And that appears to be, that's metal as well. That's a nice piece there, and that should just pop over that expansion port. So interestingly, I would want to go on their website at some point and see if they offer any additional ones. I mean, it always depends on the popularity of these. If they don't sell enough, then there won't be any expansion ports because nobody will want to, well, one, design them, and they won't want to make any. So now if you have the 4G antenna, you can see that goes out the same hole and sticks there, and you have to insert your SIM card, which we don't have, so we're going to skip that. So that's your 4G antenna layout there. And then you've got the battery module though, so we definitely have to do that. That's here, and alarmingly it requires the 18650 cells, which I do have none of, so maybe through the magic of editing we'll be able to time shift to tomorrow at some point in this video when I will have some of those batteries. And what's super annoying, I actually just chucked out a whole pile of old ones, and that may have sufficed. Let's see how it goes. So there's a little bit of an alignment issue there, but I think we've got it. That's it. Just want to make sure that these pins, yeah, that's okay. Now I do wonder if it will power just straight off USB-C, or you do need those batteries. The battery holder does look gorgeous, by the way. All of the contacts, golden. I mean, this whole thing is crazy high quality. I don't think you could buy a better chassis for your Cyberdeck project, really. I mean, it's just gorgeous. I'll have to look up Clockwork. If I recall, they originally made a kind of a handheld Pico E8 plasticky type computer gadget with interesting way it was constructed, like it had sort of weird knurling and things like that, knurled knobs to hold the case together. You just sort of lock and screw in. TF card. Oh yeah, I've got the old TF card here. Boom, that's in. Batteries we don't have. Yeah, we're going to just skip. Well, do we skip that stage? Let's see what would go on next. You'd put the thermal pad and you'd put the back on, and then you'd put in the stand screws, and then you'd put in the SD card thing, and then you play with it. And it says you can charge, it will charge the batteries. That's cool. Whole bunch of things, where to go and download the information and stuff like that. So I am prepared, I think, just to power it up as is for now. Thermal compounds be damned, just to see if it comes into life. And if it comes into life, maybe we'll play with it. That was all a bit in vain, you know. If truth be told, I knew I wouldn't find any, but I felt it was worth having a go. Let's get the micro SD card in here. SanDisk Ultra. Fancy. Oh, what? How's there a fingerprint on the screen already? Hasn't it just been face down the whole time? Bloody hell. Right. I'll have to live with that fingerprint now. So let's get this card in. And I'm always a bit wary of some devices like this because you've got that little slot. No, it went in okay, and it's nice and flush. You might just about see that. Flush. It's the day after, and I have some extra parts here. So I did buy some cells, and I got a charger with them. They're part of the kit. To be honest, buying these cells on Amazon is an absolute nightmare. They all look shockingly fake, and you've got no idea what, you know, capacity you're genuinely getting, and they're all sold for vapes, which means that Amazon won't just leave them in your letterbox. They'll make you sign for them because they think they're smoking paraphernalia. But I got these, which are allegedly 3600 milliamp hours, which means they're definitely not. However, what can you do? If you've got a source for good ones, let me know, because I I have the charger now. Might as well get some. So popped those in. Going to get the old heat sink on there, and I'm going to cover several of the chips. You can see I got the RAM in there and some peripheral chips. And I've got the back cover. Look, good to go there. The screws already inserted. And while I'm tightening those, oops, squidge down a bit. Feels like plasticine. You're squidging down that heatsink block. If you see there, you can have a look, see what that is. That's actually a GPS antenna. And I did a bit of research. You do definitely have internal on that little adapter extension card the ability to add a whole bunch of USBs on there. I've seen people on Tindy make an adapter that gives you 3 USB-Cs out of the side and 1 USB 2, and you do also have that GPIO header in there. So if you do want a GPS antenna and have it an internal device, it's definitely possible. So this is a GPS GLONASS device. I just wanted to see if it would fit. Yeah, I think it would fit. I don't. You might have trouble fitting your charger in here, but you could always deshell that. But that would be very cute if you can imagine that internal there. There was a lot of space, if you recall, at the end of the battery. You could have it in there, have a wire out, and a little antenna at the top. Anyway, that's for future products. It was only £7, so that's why I added it into the mix. So now we can hopefully turn this on, and I did get it running. I eventually did get it running off USB power alone, so it's not that it hasn't been totally left fallow. I did have a play with this just to make sure it does work. I first actually used these clips and gave it 3.7 volts on the back, and that was fine too. So you can see now, actually it's a yellow glow there, which means I think it's charging. And it has booted up, and there's the old Pi. I'll add my super secret pin number. Boom, and we're in. And see if we can get a decent way of seeing the screen. I just realised I wasn't done yet. We've still got a stand and a whole bunch of screws. Probably worryingly, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws. I don't think we're going to need 5. So this is a little kickstand. And I like how it locks off here. You can see it locks off against the case in the upright position. Shuts nicely. And there is a screw hole here. We will see if that's supposed to act as some sort of latch, or if it's just purely friction interface on these sides that's supposed to keep it locked in. So let's get the one. Oh, that's already started to bite. Yeah, I don't think that is a friction there. So you're both loose. Let's pop that other one in. You can see I'm still tethered on USB. I'm trying to get as much charge as I can. I did inspect it. It doesn't seem to be that it's charging particularly quickly, but then I've not really any experience of those cells. I could have whacked them in that charger beforehand. Right, let's put that here though. This is an interesting one. Yeah, so the screw there, oh no, that works. Yeah, that works quite well, and I'll show you that. Let me tighten this screw up then, so you don't want it working loose. So what I did there is I just put my nail underneath and pulled it around the edge of that screw. So that's actually pretty loose. Loose, and it sits like so. Not quite the right angle for filming, but you can see the Raspberry Pi logo there on the screen. Now there was a bit of time I spent with this, playing with it. It is by far the most convincing handheld Linux experience I've ever had. I actually sat up in bed just doing Linuxy stuff, going on the web browser, YouTube, things like that, and it worked. It worked pretty fine. I mean, this processor seems to be a lot faster than previous Raspberry Pis I've played with, although I have to admit I've not played with a Raspberry Pi 5. I installed LibreOffice on there. I installed GIMP. I went through the games. It has a nice bit of cave story. In fact, I might just show you that because I'll be able to show you how these work. There is a button in the trackpad. That's actually the middle button. So you've got left, right, and when you press here, it's middle, and then you can see the game. I'll just zoom in a little bit more. You don't need to see the keyboard. So for sound, by the way, if I push that, it goes quiet. But if I hold down function, you can hear it gets a bit louder. And it's adequately loud, by the way, it's fine. And you can see now the D-pad here, and I believe that's mapped to just up, down, left, right on a normal keyboard. And if I press B, new game, the reason I believe it's up, down, left, right on a normal keyboard is because in Linux it moves around menus and things as you'd expect, and I don't think Linux would have joystick support necessarily. Let's just get through the little opening seat. Come on, come on. This is quite a good way to play this game as well. So I was recently playing this on my little game system that I bought a few videos ago, which had a much smaller screen, but this is a far more pleasant experience. And funnily enough, I kind of feel like I'm getting addicted to this game. So I don't know if you've played it. Let me know. But it's definitely a great little game. I kind of die on the first boss, not figured out how to kill that. Oops. Let's quit while we're ahead, literally. And then you can see it's dropping back, hopefully, into the Linux desktop, where I'm going to shut that off. Now, look at this. Die! Just die. Now, I don't think this is necessarily an issue with this particular hardware, but this is kind of the normal Raspbian Linuxy stuff that happens from time to time. So you can see the menu bar's working. I can't seem to shut down this application. Oh, maybe it's just disappeared now. And in the top corner, you can see it's having slight trouble accessing Wi-Fi. So I really want to check out what's going on the antenna. I suspect, by the way, this antenna, generally, I don't think they were expecting a big metal ground plane here on the back. And this lip here isn't going to be doing it any good too. So this could be something that's worth replacing. There's plenty of room, by the way, that you could probably drill a hole here and have a normal antenna just sticking out of that. And I might root around in my big bag of random antennas and just try that. Because they all come with that small little, I don't know what you call it, is it an SMA connector? Anyway. So yeah, all of the usual joys basically of Raspberry Pi and Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. I'm having connectivity issues now, but I can assure you that when you do load it up, you can go on Chromium quite nicely. It does work well. And I did play YouTube videos. I don't think it was amazing, but it was definitely doable. It was really quite good. I did try downloading some other games. You can see I have been online. I was quite impressed with this one, by the way, Pingu's, which is a rip-off of Lemmings. Now, I did have a go at trying to set the screen resolution. The problem is it is a 720p screen, but when you run it full screen on some of these applications, and I'll show you now what happens. Maybe I have to shut it and do it again or something. They just don't display right. And again, that's not really anything down to this particular hardware. It's just that, there you go. You do get a lot of examples in Raspberry Pi land where just stuff isn't set up nicely, and it does distract you and detract from the experience. And that's a particular annoying example there where, look, by the way, let's take this off. We should have some battery power now. I can't shift off that. So I'm trying to Alt Tab, Control Alt T. We can't even bring up the terminal. And another bit of fun and games I had with Raspberry Pi is by the way, I'm just going to power cycle this while we're talking, and you can see you've got the standard Linuxy stuff happening. I'll show you that when I boot up. Yeah, the standard Raspberry Pi things of just battery meter not working accurately, Wi-Fi dropping out, incompletely configured UIs. So these are things that are sort of teething troubles that perhaps Clockwork have already fixed. I mean, I don't know what version of software is on this TF card. It may well be that there's a more recent version on there for sure. Now, something that I think this would be great for would be basic penetration testing, Cyberdecky type goodness. So you could certainly install a bunch of really nice little utilities here, use it as a mobile terminal. What I think it lacks for me, and I'm observing it's not booting in, so maybe that battery isn't charged, is that it doesn't have immediately accessible serial. So I think serial would be good for me because I would like to connect it to microcontrollers, and that would be really cool as a pocket terminal for those. I did plug this into a PC. This registers as a serial device and it just constantly streams GPS data. So you've probably got two options with this chipset. If you pop this open, obviously you can plug it into there and connect to it just as a serial device and look at the serial stream. Hopefully there's a Raspberry Pi app that will run a map or something. But if you open that up, it might be possible to intercept the serial before it goes to USB, which would be cute. And then that way you... Oh, there we go. I don't know if you saw that. Again, I'm trying to boot it up. I'm having trouble knowing if it's booting or not because clearly the screen driver kicks in quite late in the process. So it would have been nice if there was some real obvious LEDs what's going on. You can see now again it's charging. I put that in. When I pop this out, I'm just going to pop this out. Let's just see if this does die. Again, it's saying that the battery's dead. We did have it on here for a few hours. And we're still not seeing anything there. Now let's talk about the keyboard. The keyboard has a backlight. It's quite uneven. I don't think I'll be able to really show it to you in this lighting. It's very subtle. And the screen, by the way, has quite nice brightness you can do by holding function and so you can turn the brightness right up. So you can see it's nice and clear. Actually, it's quite low. Yeah. And the whole terminal experience is actually really good. So you can see you can basically work. It's definitely doable, and you can just access everything with your thumbs. And the keys are nicely spaced apart that you can actually work quite well. I'm going to try it on the kickstand while we're here though, and see. You know, it's a bit skiddy, but then it is on a very slippery process. So if we do LS. Oh, it did die. So that's really weird, right? It's got hardly any power. So maybe it really is charging incredibly slowly, or those batteries I've bought were just total pants. I want to show you one other thing, which is a bit of emulation when it boots up. And then while it's booting up, I just want to cover the shortcuts. So I tried to edit the shortcuts file. So you have Control-Alt-T to bring up the terminal. And I thought, wouldn't it be great if you do Control-Alt-C or B or whatever you've got spare to bring up Chromium? And I've gone in and edited all the correct files, the files that everybody on the internet says you should edit. And these are sort of standard things across Raspberry Pis, not just specific to this hardware. And just doesn't work. It just ignores it, religiously ignores it. Now let me show you a great experience here that this is obviously pleases me, and I'll show you why. Anyone who watches the channel knows me will know why. If we go to games and we go to DOSBOX emulator, you'll see that booting up, and then I'll just do C:, because I have mounted that, not LS, CD carrier, and then you'll see there carrier.exe, and then this is so convincing, by the way. Look, it's such a convincing solution. You could see everything's running. I have to hold down the function key here to do F1. That's fine. That works okay. And then it's just like it's just carrier command. So I have to change the input mode, which is F2 to Microsoft Mouse, exit, and then F10 to exit. And then you'll see the mouse works in here, and you can actually just go and play your DOS games. I'm a big fan of carrier command, so I'm quite pleased with this. This will be me. I don't think I really need to install any more than this. You can see I could just launch my Manta. Look at that. How groovy, isn't it? I don't know if I've got sound working actually now that we're here and talking about it. But look at that. I just right click there so I could take control of our Manta and play that. I would quite like to put XCOM UFO and maybe some Sierra type games, point and click adventures. I don't think there'll be any issues in emulating those at all. I did notice in the menu, and let's see how I exit this if it's possible. Alt tab, escape. I don't know how to exit DOSBox. I think I'll just have to exit in game. So let's just exit in game. I'll just show you the emulators that are on there. So if you are interested in trying all the emulation, come on, quit. Right, now I can exit. Go back here. You can see here we've got the DOSBOX staging, whatever that is, Lyco 12, which might be one of those reduced instruction set virtual computers, I don't know. Low-Res NX, MAME, Minetest, which is sort of Minecraft type clone. Open Transport Tycoon Deluxe, Open Tyrian, which is really great. That's one of my favourite shooters actually of the oldie days. Retro Arch, Tick 80, which again is one of those small things, and then I don't know what Tint is, but should we just try Tint? I think it's probably again one of those. Oh yeah, I installed this. This is a DOS Tetris, well, I say DOS, a command line Tetris for Linux. Very convincing, yeah. I didn't know Tint existed. I might try running Tint on some remote Amazon servers and see what kind of performance I get through the internet. And that's about it. In operation, it doesn't get very hot. I know we had that heatsink there on the back. I've not noticed it get particularly warm, and we are in the throes of a British summer at the moment. But I'm incredibly pleased. If you see this for a reasonable amount of money, I think just buy it. If you look seeing at this now and you go, that looks cool, it is cool, right? It is cool. It's all metal. It actually does fit in your hand. I can't quite show you. Maybe I can. Look, hang on. Here's a pocket. My phone in it, right? You can just about see it's fitting in the pocket. It does fit in there. It's a big pocket though, to be fair. I probably would like, if it doesn't exist, that somebody makes something that goes on this hinge, yeah, and provides a little screen cover, because I'd be happy enough to just like flick it over, and you could say, yeah, well, why don't you make one? Well, I'm busy, so I'll happily 3D print or buy one from somebody else. But I think that's probably a really good opportunity, probably a lost opportunity for Clockwork to have made that. That would have been a nice little metal thing with some rubber bumpers that sits nicely. Again, though, if you're covering the screen, would you want the keyboard covered? I guess my worry would be if you're sliding it in and out of your bag, it would get marred. Maybe you could have an entire slipcase for this, like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy with "Don't Panic" written on it. That sounds something that's definitely doable, and I will be looking on the old Thingiverse and equivalents later to see if anybody's got one. So that is probably my whistle-stop review. I would say, yeah, go get one. That's my conclusion, and probably find batteries that make sense. If you do know of any batteries, please comment down below and let me know which ones I should be using. As ever, thank you very much. Bye bye.